Okay, well, guess what, gang? That was the 4 we had scheduled, but we are going to open this up to other challengers, right? On other topics. Um, we're gonna mess with this format a bit. It was a pilot
What's up,
episode,
everybody?
okay? We're
Hope you can
trying
hear me.
different things. But let's go into overtime, gang. Okay? Let's bring in the first guy. I don't know what order you guys came in, so I'm just gonna pick the
Oh,
people I think will do
oh, I
well.
don't know what order I am. Oh shit. Hold on, I gotta unmute. Hey, what's up? Can you hear me?
Oh, there you are. You got a camera for us today?
Yes, I do. You gotta warn me when you just drag me into these things. Come on, man.
Okay,
Um,
what do you got?
yeah.
What's
So
your
I mean, I didn't prep for a specific debate. I thought this whole thing was gonna be a Destiny allegations trial, but I'm
Jesus
curious. Just
Christ.
well, shit, that's what everyone's talking about. That's what all my DMs are about. But no, I'm curious. Could you read me out your evidence for as to why the Russia collusion thing happened? I've been writing some notes. I just want to make sure I got them all because the
So I think
logic isn't logicking for me.
so Roger Stone 100% was coordinating with Lucifer 2.0 for media timings on the leaks.
Mhm.
Roger Stone was 100% a campaign surrogate for Trump's 2016 election campaign.
Right.
Roger Stone lied and obstructed every part of that investigation into him when investigators were investigating.
Yep.
And then he was pardoned eventually for said thing, for obstructing and keeping any amount of coordination with the Trump campaign safe. I think that it's almost certain that Stone was communicating with the Trump campaign. The Trump campaign probably should have said, "Hey, we don't do that. We're not coordinating with foreign hackers for the American political system. That's not good. That's not okay." But nobody said that. Nobody brought that up. I think it's a similar bad thing for that Trump Tower meeting. Was basically them saying initially, I think when it leaked, they were like, we were just going to go chat with some friendly Russian lady about some Russian adoption thing. And then it later came out that actually we were getting opposition research from her in a Trump Tower from a Russian attorney. Super not okay. No, not good. And yeah, Trump just tried really hard at every stage to obstruct every part. Firing Comey was the incitement moment for appointing Mueller, telling Sessions to recuse himself, or I'm sorry, telling Sessions to kill the investigation, and then him recusing himself. Other people lying about communicating with Russia, like Flynn, and getting pardoned. Like, it's just so much. Trump pardoning everybody that's helping him keep everything covered up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So none of that I have a problem with. The incongruency
Okay.
comes from the debate you had right before that, where it seems like a president who is obstructing a justice in the most guilty, obvious ways, and also pardoning or if not commuting Ghislaine Maxwell's sentence is not evidence to, yeah, we might never know because the evidence hasn't come out to prove it solidly, but somehow that is like some wild, insane conspiracy, and this somehow meets the burden of, yeah, there's probably something there. I believe both of these things are probably true.
What? So for like the Stone Guccifer Trump connection, that's just publicly known.
Yep.
There's like no like that
Right,
happened.
so the Trump Epstein connection is known. Obviously, Trump diddling kids
No.
is not known. There
Yeah,
are
that's the
accusers.
interesting
There are
part.
accusers, and
Yeah.
that's where it ends. He's partying
Sure.
with him. There's evidence of him trying to cover up his name by saying, "Hey, FBI, redact my name out of these files." Now, whether or not there's literally a list of like people's names, I think that actually is probably not true because that's stupid. I think he probably killed himself. Whether or not that's they coerced him to, or he did it himself because he knew he was fucked. Probably also true, but I don't think this somehow belies the fact that Donald Trump is acting like the most guilty person ever. In the same way that a lot of this Russia stuff is, it seems like there's at least some sort of connection there. If not, why not release the files? Why not, not
Well, I
redact
guess
his name out of it?
for the FBI. So here's my question: is there something? So my story. So this is my story. Okay, my story is that Trump put a bunch of people in his campaign who fucking who were crazy conspiracy theorists because that's what MAGA tracks.
Yep.
Okay. They said a bunch of stupid shit about the Epstein shit. When they came into office, these people are literally retarded. If you look at like what Tulsi releases from the DNI, making claims that are contradicted by her own things that she
Yeah, like
releases,
the
she's
Obama
still
evidence,
retarded.
the same stuff we seen 10
They
years
don't
ago.
even read their own shit. So the fact that they're now, when confronted with the evidence, you're like, oh fuck, we have nothing, and now they're doing their best to scramble and cover it up.
Cover
and
what
then
up?
the fact
Cover
that
up that they have nothing?
cover up that they have nothing, and that the only stuff they could release would be like flight logs and stuff. But Trump is going to be in those as much as any other person, Bill Clinton or Prince
Andrew.
Williams or Andrew or whatever the fuck, or like anybody else. Like all of this, like he's going to be just as like bad as anybody else who's on these flight logs. Is there something in my story that, or is there something in the evidence and the fact pattern that exists? What's like the most difficult to account for thing for me that my story doesn't explain? Because I feel like my story kind of explains it all. Like
That
really
they would
perfectly.
try
Yeah.
so hard to redact and block and obstruct and make deals with Ghislaine just because of proximity stuff that we've known for
Wait,
10
wait, wait.
years.
So let's separate these out. So when you say that they would make deals to redact or obstruct, I actually think that's perfectly explained by the fact that Trump knew that at the very least he's in the flight logs. There was that
But right,
interview, and
but
I know you
no, that's what I'm saying is that
You see-
everyone knew this for years and years and years. The new stuff would be what's in the files, which is not being released.
There are no files. I don't think there are files to release. I
There's
think it's just like
nothing?
investigative stuff that has nothing relevant or important. No, I don't think so.
Well, there's something. What's being redacted? That's that you think that report is just not true. That the FBI is redacting something out of something. Like what files are being
My guess is
redacted?
if it was things like flight logs and stuff, things that we've probably already seen. I doubt it. Or maybe maybe interviews with people that mention the name or whatever. Yeah.
Already seen. Like obviously it's not already seen. Otherwise they wouldn't have to redact it. Everything that we know up until this point, like I would say 90% of it has been known since at least 2016. I think where it falls apart for me is you've said like, oh, like if Trump was in these things, it would have fallen apart. It would have come out. A lot of these accusers, if you look at any of their interviewers, they don't even know who Jeffrey Epstein was until he became a public figure and got arrested. So people that like didn't even come out and accuse Trump until he ran for president because either one, they didn't know who he was when he assaulted them at some random party at 2003, or they didn't even know Jeffrey Epstein's last name. They just knew him as, oh, he was Jeff and he did something to me and I forgot about it. And then once these figures become more prominent, that is when stuff like this comes out. So it's weird to me that like, oh, we would have seen it already is like kind of the excusable thing here where
yeah. Well, no, I understand, but this is not as compelling to me because I didn't know what Epstein looked like until I think 2022.
No, exactly. No, I didn't even know his name until he went to jail.
Donald Trump, everybody in America knew who Donald Trump was. The Apprentice was wildly popular over here. So I think Trump would have been a little bit harder to not recognize.
Well, the accusers came out before 2016. A lot of them came out during 2016 as well. And then I think what's the one that got the assault charge where it's like civilly liable for rape or whatever. That one was, I think, during the campaign, if I'm not mistaken. But
sure,
the point
this is what I can't account for. There's too much that doesn't make sense here. So here are the questions that I would have. Okay, so the first question would be, why didn't So the first is why didn't Biden release anything? Or anybody in his administration release anything? Two would be why aren't there any leaks whatsoever? I think those would be my two big questions. Why didn't Biden or the Biden DOJ release anything at all about this? And why has nobody in the FBI, nobody's come forward with any additional information at all who's actually seen anything? It's always just like loonies. Like, yeah.
I mean, that's a good example, but like, has anyone in the Biden, Obama, or any of these administrations, specifically Democratic administrations, released government documents to try to smear a campaign? I don't know of any examples of this, let alone in the Epstein case. I know like the closest thing I can think of is maybe like the Steele dossier, but like this doesn't seem like a thing that Democratic presidents do, period. The conspiracy.
Wait. Well, I'm not talking about just smearing. I'm saying like my understanding is when we talk about the Epstein files, we're saying there's stuff that's like prosecutable in there, no?
Sure, but like I mean, there's prosecutable stuff for Donald Trump, like in the Russia stuff. There's prosecutable, like they just
which they tried to prosecute him for,
right? And it never really went anywhere. And they either said, "Hey, like this is not going anywhere. This is not worth it." Like
there was the huge Jan 6 indictment from Jack Smith, and he got impeached twice. So like
I know, but what I'm saying is
ever pursued or mentioned about Epstein at all.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying is like, I don't know if there's sufficient evidence to show that like, oh, they saw this as a kill shot and didn't release it, which in your story doesn't make any sense. If not, hey, they saw that this was not going to benefit our campaign whatsoever to try to prosecute them on these things that, ostensibly either aren't chargeable or there's not enough evidence there, or the extent to which they even have his name in the files is like what you said, what we already know. Okay, his name's in the flight logs. Oh, he visited the island or whatever. The point I'm trying to say is, how can that be the defense of, well, therefore there's nothing implicating whatsoever? If you're saying there's nothing criminal, like, oh, Donald Trump raped a person, here is the picture of him doing it, yeah, probably not. I doubt that would be like in a file somewhere that like every single person is sitting on when the most powerful person in the world is out there, like, and they're like, yeah, like, we have 50 employees who looked at this photo of him doing it and we didn't release it. Yeah, probably not. But are there files of him showing even deeper connections to him? I don't understand how they would just put all this effort into covering it up, just telling everyone to stop talking about it, telling people to like redact the names, but not because he's implicated in some way that makes it more of a tie to Epstein, rather because there's nothing and he just doesn't want people to talk about it anymore.
Or maybe we don't necessarily disagree. There's probably stuff that like ties him more to Epstein. That wouldn't surprise me. There's probably stuff that ties everybody more to Epstein if they're interviewing people around him and everything else. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I'm almost sure there is. But I think that I'm actually taking him at face value when he says, well, not at face value because I don't think he exactly says himself, but there's that really famous interview where they were like, would you release the JFK files? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, would you release the fucking moon landing, I don't know, whatever else. So like 3 things. And then they get to the Epstein thing. He's like, would you release Epstein? And he's like, well, for that one, I'm not sure, because there might be a lot of innocent people in there who are actually negatively impacted. Like, my guess is he's probably did have more ties, or there are probably people that were interviewed around Mar-a-Lago that mentioned Trump and Epstein being friends or something like that. I'm sure that those things probably exist. But I don't think any of it is like criminally indictable. I think they should release it for the lulz at this point. But I don't think there's like a huge like criminal thing, or that you're going to get any deeper there, because I feel like like people hated him enough that if that was there, they would have looked for it, right? That was a whole issue
if there's specific evidence of, like I said, like if there's like a blackmail list, which, like you said, like there's probably not some like book of people having sex with children, because Epstein would have leveraged that before ever going to jail. But I mean, obviously in this conspiracy, there could have been a way they got ahead of it. They found his dead man switch. Who knows? It's all speculation. The point I'm trying to say is, like, there's obviously something where a guilty person is covering something up, and the idea that
I disagree with that guilty. I don't like the guilty thing.
Okay,
right?
maybe not guilty of a crime that they can prove by releasing the Epstein files, because if there was, criminal charges in here, that the people would have released it. What I'm saying is there's like obviously something else that we don't know.
But it could just be stuff that makes you look bad, right? That's not necessarily indicative of any guilt whatsoever, right? Like, what if it was the case that what if you had no idea, but you were like playing at a casino, and like Jeffrey Epstein happened to be at your fucking poker table, and you played like 6 hours of poker with him like the day before he went to fuck some kid, and in the FBI investigation files they noted like, oh, these people spent like a lot of time on that day, and then they do their homework and they research like, oh, this guy didn't even know who Epstein was, or this guy just chatted with him, or he had no connection.
Sounds like that would not implicate him, it would exonerate him, rather than like, we already know they were very good friends, right?
Hold on. It wouldn't exonerate anybody. If you wanted to dig through shit and look at every connection, people would fly. We should look at how many people are going on Bill Clinton saying that he had all these ties to Epstein, because they've stretched like crazy anything that shows up related to Bill and Epstein. I think that I'm not trying to defend Trump. Just to get back to what we're the point on is that, like, I just don't think there's anything ultra incriminating. If you want to say there's like embarrassing stuff in there that would just look bad, sure, but I don't think any of it is like criminal malfeasance or anything that like shows like wrongdoings. It'll just be more shitty, stupid stuff that makes.
I mean, I can agree that there's probably not like damning video, picture, or even like written names in a book, like here's the list of people I made fuck kids. Like that stuff probably doesn't exist in such an obvious way. But I guess my issue is like the way that you're doing this plausible deniability seems kind of incongruent, one with the Russiagate thing, but also even with just like of the stuff that's come out of the Epstein case. Like, for example, we didn't know until very recently, this might have existed but no one had found it yet, that he had been sent that birthday letter that was like very, very implicating, like, young women, enigmas, that sort of thing.
Implicating, right? It was
no, right, it doesn't prove criminal intent. It's just like, okay, if you were fucking kids with this guy, this kind of checks out, but obviously you can post hoc rationalize anything with any conspiracy. The problem I'm saying is that came out much, much, much later. That is something that an Epstein accuser or a Donald Trump conspiracy person would have had come out, and yet it's been 20 years since that happened, maybe 15 years since that happened, and like that just now came out. Why now? Like, why is it not possible that there's still a good chunk of stuff that's pointing to this person at least having 5 more minutes, connections with this person who claims to be his best friends, trafficked women, says that he liked them on the younger side. It doesn't stretch my credulity that much.
That could be possible. The only problem then how would I account for Trump not telling Pam Bondi, you need to kill everything about this and never talk about this again? If Trump knew that stuff was out there, we've already seen, especially because we can point to historic behavior, Trump controls his employees as much as he can to make them obstruct justice, break the law, do whatever he needs to cover his own ass. In his first term, it was harder to do that because he didn't realize how
loyalists,
illegal. Yeah, he didn't realize how illegal the shit he was going to do. In this term, Pam Bondi is literally his fucking center testicle. She will do whatever the fuck possible.
Well, here's
if
the
Trump
thing.
knew there's incriminating stuff out there, why would Trump tell Bondi or allow Bondi to go on mainstream media and say, here's part 1 of the Epstein files, we're going to release everything, guys? Like, I don't think that would ever happen.
It's one of those things where I do think this is the first time the MAGA movement has actually shot themselves in the foot, where they kind of campaigned and had this whole base of QAnon people that believe this is this is the one time we almost saw a sever in the MAGA base, because this was their like issue. It's, the Democrats are pedophiles. There's a pedophile ring, and he knows he can't just make this go away with like a word to one person. The people in his cabinet, as you've said, like the Dan Bongino's and the Kash Patel, maybe they'll run cover, but they won't just like burn these files, I guess. It seems as if it's
so I'm just curious. So I guess just back to my fact pattern. Is there a thing that my story can't neatly explain, I guess, with the fact pattern we had? Or what do you think is like the most contentious fact that I have a hard time explaining with the way that I understand it?
The fact that all of the circumstances around this Epstein case are only because all of the action, all the effort put in, all of the redactions, all the Ghislaine Maxwell talkings, all of this is only because there's some stuff in there that just kind of looks embarrassing, just does not check out to me. The fact that
why can't I count? Why can't I just say that my story is Donald Trump had a lot of fucking crazies around him because of the MAGA shit who all hyped up a conspiracy. They got into the office hoping a conspiracy was there. There was none there. Trump's actually been fairly consistent when he was getting elected. He said, like, I don't know if I'd release Epstein files. There might be a lot of innocent people in there. And now they've, like you said, they've shot themselves in the foot, except it was on overhyping and completely under-delivering on finding anything there. Like, what? I don't know. I feel like I think that's a pretty clean explanation.
Because if there was truly nothing implicating whatsoever, I think it wouldn't be that big a deal to release them and just say, look, there's nothing in here. Because they kind of did that with like the Wave 1, and no one was really upset about it. They were just kind of let down and disappointed.
Wave 1 was all stuff we already
exactly.
Knew.
That's what I'm saying.
They even released stuff that was redacted, that was more redacted.
Yes, then they were even extra redacted it. And that's what I'm saying is, like, if it was so simple as, hey, this is embarrassing that we hyped this up and there's nothing there, I think they would still release stuff instead of coming out publicly and saying, actually, there's nothing here and you don't have to worry about it.
Wait. Why would you release stuff, though, that would just make Trump look bad?
Why would it make him look bad?
Hold on. Are you acknowledging that there are completely, as much as I hate to say this with Trump, that there are completely innocuous ways that him and Epstein could have connected that would make him look bad if all of that was like publicly revealed?
What beyond what we already know, like the fact that Epstein says he was his best friend? That's what I'm saying is, like, what would you release that isn't already in the zeitgeist of things we've known for 15 years?
There could be more parties they attended, more conversations they had, more people commenting on conversations or their relationships from other people. Like, there could be a ton of stuff. These were investigators who had subpoena power, right?
I agree this makes him look bad, and stuff like this is leaking constantly. I mean, again, there was like a new footage of him at a new party with Epstein that like we hadn't seen before, but like none of this is like the spear smoking gun that is all wavering the MAGA base. So I just don't understand why he would go to such lengths to cover up, like, even if it was like, oh, like, hey, I was at 50 different parties with him and here's the guest list of every single one. Like, I don't think this is going to cause the MAGA base, who is like grasping at every single possible straw to defend anything he's doing. I've even seen them go so far as to say, you know what, hey, it's only a phoebophilia or whatever. Like, it's, you know, hey, she knew what she was doing. Why that would be the thing he goes to such lengths to cover up, and not something a little more incriminating, given that they were best friends and they both liked women on the younger side, according to Trump.
I mean, so what would be the incentive if my story were true? What would be the incentive for him to release everything and not just try to shoo it under the carpet until it goes away and focus on like this weird Obama Russiagate thing?
The incentive not to do it if there was nothing implicating in there?
Like, let's say that my story is the one that I think is true. That now they're kind of.
I don't think there would be a good incentive. I think in the same way that Obama finally gave in and was like, "Here's my fucking birth certificate. There's nothing here, you idiot." Like, I think he would actually be benefited from doing that. Like, hey, we checked it out, and I have nothing to do with this, and also this is all we have on it. Here we go. Now let's move on to the economy or whatever he kept trying to say in these meetings. I think he would benefit from that if there was nothing that made him look worse. But I think there's a lot that makes him look a lot worse, which is why he's going to such lengths to not look.
What was the point of doing the Ghislaine Maxwell thing then?
Of movie in my story or in your story?
Yeah, well, in my story, I would say they wanted to talk to Ghislaine Maxwell because they were praying to God they could get anything embarrassing about any other figure to talk to her, but they couldn't come up with anything. What in your version? What are they?
Well, in my version is, hey, Ghislaine, we know that you and Epstein were partners, and Epstein was best friends with Donald Trump, so you have very deep knowledge of all the things he did. Don't say anything, and we'll move you to this other nicer prison or commute your sentence. That seems a lot more obvious to me, other than, hey, pretty please, like, give us some dirt on someone, and if you don't have it, we'll still commute your sentence and move you to a nicer prison. Because like that makes less sense to me.
Did they commute her sentence?
I think it's like, what, she's going to be on like work release or something soon, and she's eyeing for a pardon.
Thing came out that was like marked on a thing. I don't know if that's actually happening.
Well, she's already in a less dire situation than she was a few months ago. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, she did get moved to that. I agree with that. But it just seems like I don't know. I just don't know what more hardcore incriminating stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like my story counts for everything. That's how I feel. But
okay. Last word, soy pill.
Yeah, I think.
I will say. Oh wait, real quick before you start. Like, this is a thing that like I'm like the subject matter. What are we talking about exactly? We're talking about what are the chances that Trump is completely and totally innocent of something bad. So I'm like, probably 60% on that. That's just where my feeling is. But like, there's a whole bunch of stuff that could come out that would change my mind. So, for instance, there could be a whole bunch of stuff in there that doesn't rise to the level of probable cause, or it could be that his AG Barr back then and his investigators back then were maybe playing a little bit more fast and loose related to Trump stuff because they didn't know if they could charge him with a crime while they were investigating Epstein while he was president. That's possible. Like, there is a lot of stuff that could come out that would change my mind on it. Like, I'm not like it's impossible that they're trying to cover up that he secretly. I'm not saying that. I think like it's possible. I just don't see any like compelling reason to super believe that. That's just so you understand the strength of my conviction on that. Yeah.
No, I totally understand the like status quo, like sort of. And this is not. I'm not saying this is pejorative. I learned to appreciate the status quo and the doubt of conspiracies from JJ McCullough, but it's just one of those. Okay, like this is if this is as you say, just a fuck up of hey, there's really nothing else to release there. This is like the worst possible way you could go about trying to cover it up or sweep it under the rug. It just seems like there's at least a little more than what we've seen here. But like you said, it could be nothing. I don't have any evidence other than it's just would be like the most ridiculous set of circumstances to happen in and of themselves. Final word is you should probably get on Luprin, dude. There's a lot of crazy stuff coming out, and I keep having to answer for it for some reason.
Okay.
What is Luprin?
I don't know what Luprin is.
Okay.
What is Luprin?
That's the chemical castration.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for the
I
conversation.
wouldn't be
Had a
able
good
to
time.
fuck your mom anymore if I did that, but thanks. Have fun.
I'll see you later.
Good night. All right, that was fun. Well, I've got an hour before my debate, guys. I guess I'll just hang out with you for an hour, kind of talk about what we're going to talk about. Hopefully, my debate partner isn't watching. Oh, wow, I did not have chat on that whole time. I'm sorry, everybody. I don't think I could see any of your little delicious little chitty chats. One second. Let me go to the dashboard and see what you guys have been saying. Was Connor fired for his ideas? I seem to recall he had already been fired. Connor, I don't believe this guy's name is Connor. If Connor, Connor, I believe was fired before this. I'm not debating Connor. I am debating Kai. Kai is a different character. He's a completely different character in the fascist Jubilee video universe. This channel's become a debate me bro. Absolutely, it didn't become that. It's always been that. Here before the title changes to Jubilee far right conservative. No, he's a fascist. I think so. You can go to his Twitter. It's pretty obvious. Are we just platforming fascists? So the only reason I'm having this debate is because we're not debating fascism. Because it's like, what the fuck is the point? It's talking about the idea of whether or not you can ban someone for extreme beliefs, which I think will be fun. But who knows? I don't know what his angle is going to be. Maybe he's just going to go into the fascist angle real quick, and I'll just have to like point out how stupid it is. Let me change the title of this real quick. Give me a second, boys and girls. And do I say non-binary pals? Is that too woke? Woke's dead now. We don't say that anymore. But if you're non-binary, I'm cool with you too. Where is this thing? Am I not live? Why can't I find this video? So annoying. Where are we? Where am I? Sorry guys, I'm having some RAM issues right now. I would say no. If someone's a cleaner at McDonald's, if they go to KKK meetings or has read the Communist Manifesto, that doesn't affect their cleaning skills. So first of all, I mean, I don't want to give away my whole debate strategy, guys, but it's actually totally okay to fire people. Like this is like just completely and totally legal. And if you're causing some sort of problems in the workplace, like it's gonna happen. Oh my God, wait, am I on the wrong? No. How many people are? What the hell is going on? Are you guys even here? Something went wrong. What's going on here? Soy isn't live on YouTube. I'm not? What? Oh no. Did it do a thing? Uh-oh. I might have went live on the wrong place. No, it says I'm live right here. Am I logged into the wrong account or something? What's going on? It says I'm live. Don't lie to me. Is the chat like not connected or something? Is some bullshit going on? Is that why I can't see any of your chats? Give me a sec, y'all. Let me see. Interesting. So if I try to pick... No, I'm live. Oh, it's private. Interesting. That's so dumb. Okay, well, you know what, guys? I will end the stream, and I will be back, I guess, in 50 minutes, since you guys aren't looking at this. It's just on, like,